Hey, this is Joey with Dolphin Dog's Toy Reviews, and today we are covering Studio Series Deluxe Class Megatron from the Transformers 1 movie. This is how he comes packaged, with all these accessories separate from him. You just have to dig them out of the package. Let's assemble it. It's really easy. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take these small guns, attach them to the sides of the backpack, turn them around. There's this port that's on a hinge joint, and this peg that's just gonna fit right on over there. And there's also these two tabs right here that tab it to them right there. Bam! That's the backpack. And then I think you can guess where these go. Port here goes onto the side of the arm right there. And then this is actually interesting. There's a tab on this one that tabs into this exposed slot for the wrist swivel. And that just goes on like that. And bam, that is him fully assembled from right out of the box. Pretty easy, but figured I'd cover that because he does come packaged. Like I said, he does come packaged all separately. And now we can take a closer look at the robot mode. If only I had better lighting. That's slightly better. Overall, I think the sculpting on this figure is absolutely fantastic. They almost perfectly captured the proportions of his on-screen model here. There's really only one big issue I have with this figure sculpt-wise, and that's his head. If you can see it, let me try to get more lighting, and in focus, that would help. In focus, that would help. Whatever. He's kind of got like a weirdly bloated face from his screen model. From some angles, it looks actually pretty accurate. Like from a side view, looks pretty spot on to the movie. But there's something about just like how do I put this elegantly? I can't. How fat his chin looks. That just looks off. Not even mentioning the not nearly enough line work on his cheeks that just make it look even more bloated. But I will say, after having this guy for a couple days, it looks fine. It's ugly, but it looks fine because it's Megatron. It kind of just looks like G1 Megatron rather than TFOne Megatron, which is kind of a shame, but also like it still works. Still works pretty damn well. The legs here are really well done though. He's very lanky boy. Accurate to the film, but still. Nice way they did the crotch here. It's pretty much exactly how the mechanics worked in the movie, which is sick. Just that kind of like Earthrise kind of thing. They did that in that line. Duh. Looks really nice. Posability is kind of a bit of a different story though. If any of you own the Optimus, the Studio Series TFOne Optimus, you would know that this guy is actually pretty goddamn posable. He has a lot of awesome joints and lots of good ways you can use them, as well as just a head with lots of range. If you are expecting that out of the Megatron, don't. This guy does not nearly have as good as range. Head has a little bit of wiggle. Can move full 360, but as you can see, closed port here in the back as opposed to the open one of Prime. So his ability to look up is basically that, which is a massive shame. Shoulders are pretty alright though. Move out that far on a ball joint. Full 360. Got a bicep swivel right here. This is something the Prime doesn't have that's actually an advantage on Megatron. Double jointed elbows that move that far. Wrist swivel, because the cannon's on a port. It can also move to just kind of get it out of the way if you needed to. Not really useful for much posing though. Same here on the other arm, except this cannon doesn't move because it's tabbed in rather than plugged in. Hips are on a ball joint too. Kick forward that far. You have to move the turret out of the way. They're just on a plug too, so they just move out of the way. And they move, and the legs move back that far, pretty much all the way. Perfect spread, actually, like legitimately perfect. If you get the turrets out of the way, I'm pretty sure you just like lays flat perfect. Yeah, amazing. And then the sculpting here at the top can sometimes catch it in the waist or while trying to move the leg back, because it's like a bit like beveled up here at the edge. You can kind of see it. He has a above the knee swivel. No thing right here. He has a transformation joint, but that isn't really helpful to posing unless, like, I don't know, you want to get him in a crab pose, which admittedly looks fucking hilarious, but not useful for many standard poses. The knee, because of the transformation, locks in, so you have to unlock it, which has that nice snapping sound, and with that you get just above 90 degrees of bend. The feet can move down and move up a tiny bit, and you get only that much ankle tilt, which is a massive shame that's the only foot articulation you get, because look at Prime's ankle tilt in comparison. Insane. But this guy still gets you in all those Megatron poses you would want to get him in. It's just a shame that he's not super dynamic outside of those standard Megatron or like evil poses. And speaking of that, size comparison time. If we move on over to Optimus Prime, they scale up pretty nicely with each other. They're both about the same height. Very nice looking together. I just kind of like, oh, another thing to note, this guy also uses a bit more of like a yellowish gray, but obviously not to the same extent as Prime. And as much as I do like the gray on Prime, I really wish they used this one, because this one looks real nice and much more closer to the metallic colors in the movie. That's one thing that this figure has over Prime. He's got a couple other things, like the transformation, which we'll get to, but this is a pretty big thing. Him with the mainline Transformers 1 Quintesson Commander, which as you can see, they do not scale well at all. Quintesson Commander should be like what? Like, he's like double the size of Sentinel, who's already bigger than these two, so like, off screen. And then for like a more standard figure that people are going to have, probably Earthrise Optimus Prime or Studio Series 86B. He's a pretty sizable and chunky deluxe for what he is. So he's quite nice. And yeah, he doesn't come with any extra accessories except for the guns, sadly. If he came with like a jetpack or like a hammer. Well, actually, no, that wouldn't make sense because these aren't the cogless versions, but, you know, something a little extra would have been amazing on this guy. But let's get on to the transformation. First off, he does have a little bit of parts forming. We are going to take both cannons off of his arm, and then they will combine together, tip to tip. We're going to set that aside for now. We're going to get the arms prepped. First, we're going to take the wrist, rotate it up so that the fingers are facing up like this. If we rotate the arm, you'll see that that completes like that tread texture. That's what we're looking for. Rotate the arms at the bicep swivel, full 180. And then we are going to fold them up completely and tab them in. Sorry if my camera shakes, I do not have the most stable base. There we go. That's the arms done. And then, welcome to the fun bit. We are going to rotate the waist around, unpeg the backpack too. Rotate the waist around. Going to untab the chest. Fold that forward. And then we're going to take this entire series is on a hinge, so we're going to untab it. Actually, there's one thing you want to do before this, and this is something that I keep on forgetting on my casual transformations of the figure. Rotate the head around. This will make sure that there's enough clearance so that everything tabs in properly in vehicle mode. And then just fold that in till the head is in where the torso was. We're not going to forward the torso back up, we're going to leave it down because it needs to be like this for vehicle mode. And then with that, we're going to rotate the arms around so that they're facing down in their original position, and make sure not to snap the torso back up, because in the robot mode orientation, this tabs in pretty well, but in the vehicle mode orientation, this joint does not tab together really well. It really depends on all the other tabs holding the vehicle mode together. And bam! We're actually going to do one thing right now too. We're going to swivel this section around and then just fold it up to get it out of our way. And we can do this now or later. You're really going to depend on how you like to do it. But we're going to hold off on doing this until we get the legs done. Speaking of the legs, we're going to fold them completely out on their hip joints, and then break that transformation joint I showed you earlier, like that. Fold them down completely so that you have something like this. Come here. The back of the legs are on a double hinge, so we're going to just move them up like that. And then here we have the front tread. So you're going to take this front tread, fold it up, take the foot, fold it back until it snaps into place, and then rotate it around all the way. And then fold the front tread back down. Same on... Hi, if you're watching this video and you experience a random cut, that's just because my phone ran out of memory, and we're going to continue. So fold up the feet, rotate it around, and then fold the front tread down. And then we are almost done with the transformation. First up, we are going to move up. I've made a critical error. Do not rotate the waist around. Rotate it at the above the knee joint. Rotate it at above the knee joint. All right, cool. Now that we got that, we can shift this forward till this snaps into the foot, and also this pegs into the arm. And then also make sure to secure the chest in this tab right here. 3 different locking points on this one joint that keeps this entire mode solid as hell. Damn, there we go. Lock into the foot, lock into the arm, lock into the chest. And then we're almost done. We're going to take our combined gun, look at the top here, see this port that's going to tab in right here under the backpack. And just line it up. There we go. We're going to tab the backpack back on. You can do it without taking the backpack off, but it's easy to show you with it off, and I didn't even put it back on properly. I keep putting it not back on properly. There we go. And then bam! That is TFOne Megatron in his tank mode. Now, this is TFOne Megatron in his tank mode, and it looks absolutely glorious. The only part of things that I don't like is that I wish this folded up more, so they get that more like filled in front. But at the same time, it's so low to the ground, you're going to be viewing it from the top mostly anyways, and with that view in mind, this is bloody fantastic and pretty damn accurate to the movie. Turret even moves, get a pretty damn good look up, and it could move side to side with varying degrees of looking decent. Looks kind of goofy. You can move it down here without having it like look all the way over, and that looks pretty good. Once you want to try to get it moved more, you have to move it up and up more, and it just looks silly. But yeah, it's still got all the play functions. The only thing it's missing, honestly, is wheels. And I don't know why it doesn't have wheels, but still looks damn good. Some comparisons. Here we have TFOne Optimus in comparison, and I think these two scale pretty decently with each other. They scale pretty decently with each other, but I don't know, something about Megatron just looks a lot better than the mainline Prime. I really want to get that Takara leader class Optimus Prime, because that vehicle mode looks clean. I don't have any of the other comparisons transformed, but this is kind of like the only one you're really going to care about anyways. So yeah, they look really damn good together. And yeah, the detailing, the fact that they're able to get the completely accurate the turret with the parts forming, just by having this form the other one on his other arm, is awesome. Again, the parts forming may be kind of a annoying thing to some people, but I think it's genius how they're able to do that and still have it work as in both this mode and the robot mode. These secondary guns are pretty good too. Obviously, move up and down. They're pretty free. Honestly, I don't really care for them as much as I like how they pulled off this. Yeah, the treads look pretty good. I kind of wish there's more tread details, because I think in the movie pretty much all of this was tread, but seeing how they engineered this sculpting wise, that'd kind of be impossible. Unless like this entire panel came out and like rotated around. But yeah, it's all lines up pretty well. Also, I don't know if it's like an issue with the tab or if it's just me, but something about these tabs never want to go in all the way the first time you try to get them in place. I got them pushed down now, but that's something to watch out for too. But even then, it still doesn't really mess up the figure because it's got such a wide base. It doesn't really like lean up or down or crazy or anything. And yeah, that's been my look at TFOne Megatron, and I think overall he's really worth your time if you really like the transformation aspect of a Transformer, plus just like the alt mode. It's kind of crazy because it's like there are two figures that have like better, there are two Megatron figures that came out recently that have better alt modes than they do robot modes, and those are Gamer Edition, War for Cybertron Megatron, and now TFOne Megatron, but this one still has a pretty goddamn solid robot mode, and yeah, he's worth it. Plus, also one of the cheapest Megatrons you can buy right now that isn't core class, so either way, I'd still say you pick him up. And yeah, that's been my review. Hope all of y'all have a good day, and see you later.